What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. A big thank you for coming back and joining me and another video in the Arsenal save. So if you've been with us for the past couple of episodes, you would have seen that we worked our way through season 2. We had some new players in that winter transfer window who helped us go on in the last episode to win the Premier League and FA Cup double. Yes, we have kicked off the save in great fashion. We have become league champions at the second time of asking, and we have also won the FA Cup. So in today's episode, we've pushed forwards. It's the 4th of September 2024, and that means there are going to be new faces at the club. The summer transfer window has now slammed shut. We have also kicked off another Premier League season, and there is a lot of things going on at the club. So we're going to jump straight on into the transfers. I'm going to show you the players that have arrived at the club first, show you some of the players that have left as well. We will then go through what is left in terms of the finances, and we'll show you how the schedule's kicked off because we have already started in the Premier League. You can probably see a few little spoilers on screen already, and we're going to show you exactly what has been going on as we get to the 4th of September. So let's jump into these transfers and show you the brand new faces that have come through the door at the Emirates. So kicking off our transfer business, we have signed the first of the 3 players we have just shown you, and that player is Jobe Bellingham. Yes, we have reunited the Bellingham brothers, and we have brought baby brother Jobe to the Emirates. A bit of a steal, really. I think he's going to be in the mould of Jude. In real life, I think Football Manager might have got this one slightly wrong. All the things I've heard from Birmingham are that he plays in a slightly different position. He's more of a right winger that cuts in and can play as an attacking midfielder. So I suppose they've got 1 or 2 positions right. But the first thing we are going to try and do is retrain him as a right winger, or in our case, a defensive right midfielder, because I think he has a lot of the qualities that Saka has that can really get him into a position where he doesn't have to compete with Jude for a starting position, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Yeah, I don't really want the 2 of them fighting. There is an option to play the 2 of them side by side in the middle of the park, but I think we'll hold off on that. But yeah, gonna have a go at retraining him as a right midfielder. You can see already on his little map there he's awkward playing the position, but it's a start and we will get there eventually, I am sure. So Jobe obviously is now 18 in game. He is a player that we have brought in to try and think of the future. I mean, his development is going to really come down to how much first team football we can get him, which isn't going to happen straight away. So we've made him available for the under-21s too. At the age of 18, there is plenty of opportunity to get him football. You can see instantly, obviously cut from the same cloth as Jude. His physicals are really good in terms of the stamina, his pace, his acceleration, his agility. He has brilliant mentals, nearly all of them being the orangey pinky colour instead of just decisions at 10, which is something that again I think we can train into Jobe and get him to be a little bit better at. In terms of the technicals, he has good dribbling, good first touch, long shots, passing, penalty taking and technique, so it's a bit of a no-brainer that we have got him in at the club. Looking at him, £10.25 million going to Birmingham, so cost a lot less than his bigger brother, but I have a feeling Jobe Bellingham can be a success in this game, and I really look forward to what he can do in an Arsenal shirt. The next signing that we made was Arda Güler. He is a Turkish wonder kid who we signed from Fenerbahce. Looking at him, he's often referred to as the Turkish Messi, and you can see exactly why. His stats are fantastic for a 19-year-old. Looking at the technicals, good dribbling, first touch, free kick taking, passing technique, the mentals, determination, flair, vision, anticipation. Physicals need working on, and you can see there are some green arrows for things like strength and stamina that he's going to need to develop in the Premier League, but he's sound in terms of the physicals too. They really can be worked upon. So he's valued at 23 to 27 million pounds. Let's have a quick look at what we paid. So 7.5 million pounds was enough to steal him away from Fenerbahce. I think it's going to be a sound investment. I really have heard good things about this kid in real life. If he develops as he is in real life in game, no problem whatsoever. He could go on to be even better than Mesut Ozil. The third player from that list was Valentin Barco. Now this was a bit of an interesting one. He popped up in a news article saying he had been voted as the young player of the year in Argentina. We stole him from Boca Juniors, got him at a relatively cheap cost. Now you can see at the age of 20 he's not the finished article by any means, but as I said in the last episode when I was looking at the squad planner, we didn't really need somebody who is exceptional, we just need somebody who is very technical. We have Kieran Tierney, we have Zinchenko that can play there anyway. This is a younger model of them, and I think if he develops into that kind of player that they are, then he's going to be absolutely fine. You can see he plays anywhere up the left hand side of the pitch as far as a winger, so if we need to move him on up the pitch later on in his career, we can certainly do that. Valued at 9.4 to 11 million pounds already. He's 7.25 million pounds that he cost us in terms of a transfer fee. I think it's a sound investment. Got no issues with Valentin Barco coming into the club and competing for our first team spot at left back. Okay, so you've just seen three more players, and the first of those three is Andre Santos. He is a 20-year-old Brazilian defensive midfielder who has come from Vasco da Gama in his native Brazil. Valued at 32 to 38 million pounds, he carries the media description of Wonderkid, which is exactly what we wanted to see. This transfer window really has been the transfer window of the Wonderkid. Looking at him, you can see exactly why he's a Wonderkid in terms of his physical, agility, natural fitness, stamina, strength, everything you need from a holder. In terms of the mentals, good determination, vision, work rate, decisions, anticipation. His marking is exceptional, his tackling is good, his passing is good, free kick taking is good. You can just see everything that you need to see in one picture. Now I said we weren't going to make wholesale changes in the midfield, and I don't think by signing Andre Santos we have. I think we're just adding a player who really can complement the other players that we have got in the middle of the park. He did cost £20 million, so obviously he has been a sound investment at £20 million because he's already valued at more, but I don't see us really taking a risk in spending £20 million when you're getting a player that looks like this. Up next then, we have signed a player from Germany. This is Nico Schlotterbeck coming from Borussia Dortmund. So last season we had a real sound defensive system. 27 goals conceded was the joint fewest in the Premier League. So what do we go and do? We are going to sign defenders to make that system even stronger. And we started off with Nico Schlotterbeck. 24 years old, 6'3" in terms of his standing. He's now valued at 89 to 108 million pounds. It wasn't very difficult to prize him away from Dortmund, I have to say. Looking at his stats, like I said, he's tall for a defender, so jumping reach of 16, balance of 16, stamina, strength, acceleration, agility, it's all there. In terms of the mentals, he's got good bravery, composure, concentration, teamwork, vision, work rate, and then the technicals could probably do with a little tweaking in some areas, but the ones that he needs to be a central defender: technique, tackling the 16, passing the 13, marking of 15, heading of 13. He's absolutely sound as a player. How much did it cost to prize him away from Dortmund, I hear you ask? £77 million. They themselves paid £21.5 million in real life. They then sold him on at a big markup. So we gave them £77 million, and we get a German international who I think will only get better. And the third player on that graphic was Giorgio Scalvini. He is a 20-year-old wonderkid who comes from Italy, signed from Atalanta, and he's another player who is strengthening our defensive unit. Now, the unique thing about Scalvini is that he can play as a centre-back, he can also play as a defensive midfielder, so the games where we need to rotate Bellingham or Andre Santos or Odegaard or Xhaka, we have a defender who can step forwards into that gap and hopefully play just as well as they do. He's 6'4", as I said, 20 years old, has represented Italy now. Looking at the stats, you can see exactly why he's a wonder kid. Stamina of 17, jumping reach of 16, strength of 15. He has good agility. He has good acceleration in terms of the mentals, anticipation of 17, concentration of 16, determination of 16, positioning 16, teamwork 15, vision 13, work rate 14. Then he has 14 tackling, 15 marking, 14 heading. Everything that we were looking for in a central defender to go in and slot in alongside the ones that we already had. Had to pay £30 million for the privilege of bringing him to Arsenal, but again, just like Schlotterbeck, it's going to be worth every single penny we paid, as Giorgio Scalvini looks like he's going to be a really good addition to this Arsenal team. This next player is so good we had to give him his own graphic. Yes, it's Youssoufa Moukoko. Again, going to Dortmund and raiding them of their wonder kids. This is the one that everybody was talking about last year in Football Manager. He was so young that he couldn't be in the game because his parents needed to sign a release form. They finally got him into the game in January once he started playing for Dortmund, and he has not looked back since. Another wonder kid, as I said, this is the window of the wonder kid, and looking at him, he's just an absolute beast. At the age of 19, pace, stamina, acceleration, agility, composure, flair, work rate, technique, passing, dribbling a 16, finishing a 16. This guy is just amazing. In real life, just got called up to the German World Cup squad. So if you're watching this before the start of the World Cup, or if Germany haven't played their first group game, watch out for this name, because they are going to be giving him the ball a lot. And if he gets in behind defenders, with the pace that he's got and the strength that he's got, there aren't a lot of people that are going to be able to stop this kid. And that is exactly why we have brought him into the Arsenal squad at this stage, because we were saying in that squad planner that we probably need another player who is going to put the ball in the net consistently, and I feel that this is the person that will do that for us. And the final piece of transfer business that we have done at the club in the summer transfer window is the new wonder kid that everybody is talking about. Keep seeing all these, this game's only about Endrick. Well, you can pretty much see why. He has untapped potential. In real life, there are teams like PSG, Real Madrid and Chelsea chasing him. Couldn't just let him sit there and not try him out. 18 years old now, so he's allowed to move to Europe finally. Obviously, those who try and sign him at the start of the game have to wait that window out. We watched in the background. He obviously has played 10 games there for Palmeiras, scoring 5 goals in the background, and we pounced as soon as we were available to get him. And I don't think the money that we spent is a real risk either. £16.5 million obviously is a lot of money in terms of the real world, but in the footballing world, that's an absolute snip for a player who we know will go on to do big things, probably both in FM and in real life. Looking at him, pace of 14, acceleration of 14, agility, balance, he's got flair of 19, off the ball 12, vision of 11, he's got penalty taking of 12, technique of 13, dribbling of 14, finishing 14, and first touch of 13. Not too sure why there's so many down arrows on him. Only just signed for the club, so it might just be that he has a lot of developing to do as an 18-year-old. But everything that we have seen about Endrick, and we know pretty much everything about Endrick thanks to YouTube and Football Manager content creators, this kid is no doubt going to be the best wonder kid in FM23. So we thought, why not? Let's just go out and buy him right then. So that's the players that we have bought in. The last thing to do in terms of transfers is go and show you the players that have left the club. If we go to the transfer history, you can see there is actually another player that I did mean to point out and didn't. We went and signed Emre Tezgal. So this is a young kid from Stoke. He's 18 years old. He's 6 foot tall. 18 years old, as I said, valued at 19 to 24 million pounds, and he has turned out to be a under the radar wonder kid, if that makes sense. So not a lot of people were talking about him at the start of the game. I've seen his name pop up a few times, but we went out and bought him basically just to see if the hype was real. It's £12.5 million is what he cost us. Little spoiler there, he had to start the first game of the season for us, and he actually scored on his debut, which was pretty crazy. But looking at him, he's 6 foot tall. He plays as pretty much a target man, which is what you'd probably expect, but he's got other positions that he can play in terms of being a striker, which is pretty impressive. He has pace of 15, acceleration of 12, finishing of 15, first touch of 13, penalty taken 15, technique of 14, determination of 15. As I said, this kid really is underrated in terms of the wonder kids that I'm hearing about. It's not a name that has cropped up too much, but we've took him on and he's done absolutely brilliantly in terms of the game time he's had at the start of the game. Just double check that I haven't missed anybody off in terms of the transfers in, and that's a no. So we can start to look at some of the players that have gone out then. So we lost Eddie Nketiah to Brighton for £13.5 million. Became a bit disillusioned, wasn't getting much game time in terms of the system we were playing because Saka, Smith Rowe, Zinchenko were all playing in the position he wanted to play in. He has to leave, so we allowed that to happen. Wesley Holt is the next player who has gone out. Did we sell him on a permanent? I think we did for £3.1 million. Yes, indeed. He had spent the previous season on loan at Spezia, and they came and took him off of our hands. Considering we signed all the defenders that you've just seen, that is the reason why we just allowed that deal to happen straight away. Then we sold Jack Henry Francis to Preston. Matt Turner ended up going to Zenit. He'd been out on loan as well, felt that he wanted to go and play first team football, went to Lazio, didn't play a single game, as always, knows better than the club. So when he come back, we moved him on. Micah Beereth has gone to Rangers for £6 million. Mario Cozier Dubry has gone to Everton for £275,000. Omar Rakik, £3.1 million to Brescia. Then we've got Serjan and Clark going out on loan. Caden Clark's going on loan to Bochum because we just need him to get a bit of game time. Zach Orr went to Middlesbrough on loan. Nikolai Moller went to Ingolstadt for £1.2 million. Mauro Bandera went to Burnley for £120,000. At the end of the previous section, we sold Austin Trusty to Watford. We then go back again. So Marcelo Flores. Now Everton's are like our feeder team all of a sudden, or what's the opposite? We're basically like Everton just basically came and signed half of the squad players that we were selling off. So they signed Marcelo Flores for £11 million. Reece Nelson went there for £33.5 million. Fabio Vieira has gone to Wolves for £27.5 million, and Bradley Ibrahim has gone to Norwich for £88k. So that is all of the transfer business done. Those are the players that have left the club and the players that have arrived. We're going to move on and show you the finances, and we're then going to move on and show you the squad planner, show you how those are going to fit into the team, and finally show you the schedule and how we have got on in the first couple of games that we have played in Season 3. Okay, so obviously the transfer spending that we have done has made a little dent in the club, but not much. 93 million left in the bank now, 32 million in terms of the transfer budget going forwards. Gives us a bit to play with in the winter transfer window, just in case we need a player or two. Don't think we do. I mean, we're currently overspent on the wage budget, so we could adjust that. In fact, we should adjust that. 3.5 is the wage budget. 3.6 is what we're spending, so we need a little bit of work on there. But looking at it, we're on course to pass all the financial fair plays. We're not really turning over a loss because we were selling players like Nketiah for £13.5 million. Reece Nelson went out for quite a big amount as well, so those kinds of players will be funding the players that we bought in, so the club is in a good position financially. So let's jump into the squad tab and have a little look at how the squad is playing out, and then we will get you up to date with the competitions. Okay then, so loading up the trusty squad planner, let's have a little look at how these signings will fit in. So obviously Aaron Ramsdale number one goalkeeper, no doubts there. In terms of left backs, so Valentin Barco slots in at number 3 behind Kieran Tierney and Alexander Zinchenko. We do have Schlotterbeck on there as well because he can cover in that position, but he won't be playing as a left back because he will be our number 1 centre back option. So we've now got Schlotterbeck, Saliba, White, Gabriel, Scalvini. We also have Oko and Digberaku in there as well. The other two probably shouldn't be in there. Tomiyasu can play there. I'm not too sure what Tomiyasu's best position is. It says he's a fullback, but I don't know. When we renewed his contract, he wanted to be played as a central defender, so I don't really know whether he is a central defender or not, but I'll probably play him there if we're desperate, and if not, he can go across and play at left back, so we could cover that gap, but not sure how Tomiyasu really fits in at the club, I'll be honest. If a big enough offer came in for him, I mean, he's valued at 66 to 79 million pounds. If we're getting that kind of money, I'd really be tempted to see if we could get that money. In terms of the defensive midfield position, you might have been able to see actually between episodes the tactic has changed again slightly, so again we'll go into that in a minute. But Martin Odegaard, Jude Bellingham, Zinchenko, Lokonga, Xhaka, Patino, Hillman, Smith and Dorr, Bamba, Santos and Scalvini. So as I said, Scalvini can play there, but he probably won't. And then the options are pretty clear. We've got Odegaard and Jude Bellingham playing as a defensive midfielder, which is not a problem at all. Midfield centre, Bellingham and Odegaard again, Sambi Lokonga, Soboloi, Xhaka, Smith Rowe, Sharon Dorr, Bamba, Santos and Job coming in at the bottom there too. So again, all the same faces as the defensive midfielders, but in slightly different order. We've also got likes of Charlie Patino. I don't know what to do with him really. He looks like he's got loads of potential, but I'm not too sure he fits in the system. Joe Bellingham obviously coming in now, crowd that even more considering he's a central midfielder in the game. On the right wing then, so we have Bukayo Saka, Dominic Szoboszlai, Smith Rowe, De La Fuente and Marquinhos. As I said, Job will be pushed out to the right wing to try and get him some game time out there too, but that looks about right with Saka and Szoboszlai leading the way there. So this is what's changed. We now have an attacking midfielder through the middle who plays on the left hand side. So in that slot we're looking to put Odegaard, Dybala, Zinchenko, Szoboszlai, Smith Rowe, Cunha, Sharon Dorr, Job and Arda Güler. Arda Güler probably will be getting some first team football. We need to try and keep him developing and going along because I really think he has a good chance of being a fantastic player in this game. On the left hand side then, so Matheus Cunha, Gabriel Jesus, Paulo Dybala, Bukayo Saka is being left over there because we can play him there. Dominic Szoboszlai, Gabriel Martinelli, Emil Smith Rowe, De La Fuente, Barco can play further up the pitch, and then Endrick. Endrick is at the bottom because he only just arrived at the club really. I think we had to wait until maybe 21st of July or something like that to be able to actually sign him because of the Brazilian window, but he's only at the bottom there because we haven't had a chance to really rearrange this planner. He will be moving up. Again, with Endrick, not too sure what his best position is. As you can see, he can play there on the left. He's accomplished, he can play through the middle, he's competent and he's accomplished on the right. Also plays as a striker. So with Moukoko being a actual striker, I'm not too sure Endrick will get in as the striker, but you never know. If Moukoko has an injury or Dybala's not on form, then there is a chance he could play in that position. So looking at this then, Moukoko, Dybala, Jesus, Martinelli, Tezgel, Cunha, Adamu, Marquinhos, and again Endrick at the bottom because he has only just joined the club. So looking at it, Moukoko is going to become the number one striker at the club. He's built for it. He's in real life still showing signs of development, even though he's bullying defenders in the Bundesliga, and as I said, if he does it in the World Cup, he will be absolutely fantastic. Looking at the tactic then, a quick shift into this position here, and it's the only one that keeps changing. We had it back here and then decided it was too defensive, moved him forwards onto that automatic central midfielder. It wasn't really being effective, but having this position here as an attacking midfielder on attack, all of a sudden it was opening everything up. We started to score goals more freely, which obviously was an issue in last season. So that's the squad. that's how the tactics evolved. The last thing to show you is the schedule and the competitions. So obviously pre-season not that important, but we did lose the first pre-season game 3-2 to Monaco. We then played some Chinese teams in friendlies away from home, winning 8-0, 5-1 and 6-2. Beat Feyenoord 3-2 in a friendly before we actually lost to Liverpool in the Community Shield. So them getting revenge now on us for the FA Cup final. Mohamed Salah scoring after 79 minutes. But luckily for us, the Charity Shield was just a warm-up for the Premier League. You can see we beat Fulham 3-1 opening day of the season with goals from Tesco. He got 2, a penalty on 5 minutes and 72 minutes. And then Martin Odegaard, Teles Magno, Brazilian wonder kid, now plays for Fulham, getting their goal. A 3-0 victory followed that against Brentford. Odegaard and Gabriel Jesus getting the goals there. And a 3-2 victory against Southampton last time out before I came back sets us up nicely for the next game, which will be a North London derby. But we won 3-2 through Saka, Dybala and Nico Schlotterbeck, James Ward-Prowse and Stuart Armstrong, giving them a glimmer of hope in the second half, but we always were doing enough. So that leaves us to just look at the competitions then. You can see after 3 games played, we are sat on 9 points. We are behind on goal difference again to Manchester City and Liverpool. But the important thing is we are level on points, and that is what is important. Looking at the Champions League, this is the season where the brain fade is really going to get real. The struggle will get real. I have not got a clue really how this is going to work. One massive group, you play each other a load of times, and the top bits this and the other bits that. I'll be honest, they have ruined the Champions League coming into this season. I suppose getting to play through it for the first time, I'll see how it works out, what my opinion is of it at the end of the season, but I can't see how it's going to work really. I mean, how many teams is it now? 38? 36 teams in a big table. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work. I'll just be honest right now. Rather than having group stages and knowing who you're playing, it's just massive random big, yeah. English FA Cup, we look to start the defence of our English FA Cup after the Christmas period, so the 11th of January we go into that. Carabao Cup, play against Crystal Palace in the 3rd round, where we will change a lot of the team, and we have already lost in the Community Shield to Liverpool, getting their revenge against us for the FA Cup final. So that is pretty much everything up to date for the beginning of Season 3. In tomorrow's episode, we're going to go through the schedule and we're going to work our way until around the 2nd of January, I think. Now, I said I was going to do this in Season 2. I then made a mistake and didn't save the game, got carried away and played it through to the end of the January transfer window. But in the next episode, we will be coming back in January, and we won't have signed any players, and we will just concentrate on what's happened between this date, the 4th of September, and what happens in the 2nd of January. So basically a run through of the schedule and showing you how things are going in terms of what players and how we are getting on in the league performance. But for this one, I'm going to start to wrap it up there. If you're still with me at this point of the video, firstly, a big thank you. I really do appreciate every single person that takes their time to come to the channel, interact with the channel. So again, if you don't mind hitting the like, the subscribe and leaving a comment, helps us get in the algorithm. It helps us get these videos out to more people, which is exactly what I want to do. I really appreciate those that take the time to help me on that journey. But for this one, I'm going to end it there. A big thank you for watching. I'll check you on the next episode of the Arsenal Save.